Here is the 2025 BMWs. This is the X5 M60i in skyscraper gray metallic over Tartufo extended merino leather versus the X7 M60i in black sapphire metallic over ivory white extended merino leather. Both receive the S68 engine, which is an M engine detuned for a savings of the price. I'm going to go over the differences between the two to see which one is better for you. A third row that's over 9 inches longer or the 2-row variant. Starting with the X5, you're going to have the open air kidney grille. It's going to have the matte black and the interior will have the gloss black that will integrate into the enlarged air inlets in the side air pocket with front and rear parking sensors plus a 360-degree reverse camera. However, you're going to have to tick the box for the parking assist package because it will come standard as a reverse camera, opposed to the X7 that comes standard with the 360-degree reverse camera, active kidney grille shutter with the illuminated kidney grille that integrates into a two-face. Both are full LED for the front and 8.7 inches of clearance opposed to 8.2 inches of clearance. Underneath the hood is going to house the same 4.4-liter BMW twin power turbo V8, which is a twin turbo producing 523 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque paired to a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. The X5 will achieve 17 mpgs for the city, 22 mpgs for the highway, whereas the X7 drops it to 16 mpgs for the city, 20 mpgs for the highway, reaching 4.2 seconds. The 7 is going to be at 4.5 seconds, so 0.3 seconds difference, but you're getting a third row capability plus more cargo capacity, and towing goes up to 7,500 pounds opposed to the X5 where you're at 7,200 pounds. The X5 is set with 22-inch jet black alloy wheels, M Sport brakes that's housing 4 pistons in the front, a single floating caliper in the rear. Now this is part of the M Sport package, and you'll also have to add the executive package in order to get the soft closed doors because that is not standard on the X5. However, rear axle steering is standard on the X5, which will go up to 5 degrees the opposite direction of the steering wheel at slower speeds, and when you're going at higher speeds, the same direction to get you right at a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Whereas the X5 has the 22-inch Y-spoke jet black alloy wheels, black brake calipers housing the same 4-piston front brakes and the same rear axle steering, except you're getting standard soft closed doors when you go into the big box. Standard X-Drive, which is the all-wheel drive system, is on both, and the cool thing about this system is it will send 100% power to the rear wheel when you're mashing on the gas pedal, as well as air suspension on both. When you option the base model for the X5, that will not be a standard feature. Raised roof rails are only going to be on the X7, which is great for tie down, standard LED taillights for both, as well as quad exhaust tips. And now talking about competition, going against Audi, the SQ8, which is going to have 500 horsepower. This is going to have more than that. It's going to be just a couple tenths of a second slower. However, because we know this is the M engine, you can tune this to have that 3.7 seconds or even quicker on a 0 to 60, which would be faster than a Lamborghini Urus. And when you're thinking about that price, that's 3 times less going into the M60. And as for the X7, going to the XB7, it's the same thing for the power. So you can tune this engine and it will be just as fast as a Range Rover Sport SV, and yet look at the savings that you're trickling in. So when you're considering these two variants, the only major difference that you really need to think about is, do you need a third row capability and a little bit more towing? Power liftgate going into 33.9 cubic feet of storage. Underneath this floor, you get a spare tire, bag holders on both sides, 12-volt charger, LED interior lights, and to split fold the rear bench, you do have to go into the back, and it'll split at a 60-40 split or a 40-20-40 split. And that will maximize cargo to 72.3 cubic feet. Power liftgate going inside as well, and you can lower the suspension in the rear. Cargo behind the third row is at 12.8 cubic feet. Underneath the floor, you can hide the privacy covers, and you have some storage, 12-volt charger, LED interior lights and a split fold. The second row, you do so electronically. And it'll go down at a 50-50 split. That will increase cargo. It's a 48.1 cubic feet, which is just under 15 cubic feet more than the X5. And to adjust the captain seats for the third row to maximize cargo at 90.4 cubic feet, which will give you an additional 18 cubic feet of storage. These are both the S68. We need to go inside, start them up so you can hear the exhaust notes. The X7 m60i. The X5 m60i has 20-way power seat adjustment for the front, heated, ventilated massage seats, memory for the driver and passenger. The X7 m60i has 20-way power seat adjustment for the front, heated, ventilated massage seats, memory for the driver and passenger. For the X5 m60i, it is a box on wheels, and they're sports cars at heart because it has the S68 engine. They are both driver focused. We'll have the carbon fiber inlays with the SensaFin for the dash. Both have upgraded Bauer & Wilkins sound system, both with heads-up display, auto-dimming rear view mirror, and a long pano moonroof. This has the Sky Lounge, which has LED interior lighting that goes with the ambient lighting, as well as the M-badging for the passenger side with the satin aluminum that's going to encase the gloss black elements. BMW's curved panel 2-screen layout. We have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. It's a 14.9-inch infotainment screen with driver recorder, Spotify, and when we put it into reverse, we have the park assist. We have a 360-degree reverse camera. Click onto here, and you can use the gesture so you can go all around the vehicle. Click back, you got the car wash view that'll show trajectory. Now it comes standard as a reverse camera, so make sure you click the parking assist package. The gesture control, the soft closed doors, that LED interior lighting for the pano moonroof, that is all part of the executive package. Open up to a wireless charging pad, the BMW digital key, and the BMW key fob. 12-volt USB carbon fiber surrounding it with the ambient lighting, soft to touch, opens up into a medium-sized storage pocket with a USB port. And the same thing for the X7, glass controls, climate control for the cup holders. This is part of the executive package, which also adds the front massage seats, and both will have a 12.3 digital gauge reader that can go through an array of content for the driver. You can add the AR, which will show the front camera where it shows your miles per hour, and you can change the whole layout for the gauge cluster as well as the heads-up display. Leather wrap steering wheel, multi-function, with the paddle shifts and headroom for the X7, as well as leg room. And the dashboard layout here will have the gloss black that will integrate into the door panel. Soft materials more or less everywhere, one touch up and down for all the windows. Standard soft closed doors with a long storage pocket and a storage nook for the driver. Whereas you'll have the same design layout for the X5, just you'll have to add a little bit more features inside. For the back seats of the X5, headroom and leg room, storage behind both of the front seats. This one we have it positioned back, so you'll see how it looks in a second. USB with a connector behind both of the front seats. Dual climate control and heated rear seats. This is part of the Comfort Climate package. Air vents, a storage tray, 12-volt USB ports, cup holders with a storage, and a pretty decent size armrest. Manual sunshades, which is part of the executive package. The door panel will have the same segment that's found in the front with an air vent and a long storage pocket and a beverage holder carved out. But with the X5, you have a center seat because in the X7, we have the captain seat configuration. So you can fit 5 opposed to 6. Headroom isn't too bad. For the second row of the X7, headroom is going to be a little bit better because this is a huge box on wheels. Same thing with leg space, same storage capacity with the same USB and connector. We have a total of 5 climate controls, which is 2 here, and you'll see 1 in the third row. Heated second row seats, a storage tray, USB ports, 12-volt cup holders, and a little pass-through. This does adjust, and you can adjust it forward and backwards. You can also adjust these seats electronically, 4-way power, which you can recline that far back. And the headrest will actually contour towards your head like pillows, which you can't do that in the X5. Standard power sunshades, and you can do it for both sides as well as the pano and the third row pano. You'll have the air vent right there on the side. Door panel is going to be a little bit longer with a longer storage pocket. To enter to the third row, pull the lever and it's going to electronically move forward. For the third row, headroom, not going to be an issue. Leg space, it's actually not bad. It will index, hopefully, maybe not. That's the index that we get. So you can see I'm pretty cramped, but because it's only 2 seats back here, you're not really gonna have too much of an issue. You do have a cup holder, but using the USB port here is gonna be a little tight for me. The window helps so I don't have that claustrophobic feel, and you have an air vent here as well with the 5th climate control and heated third row seats. Because the X5 does not offer a third row seat, it might be a little bit better to go this route if you have a larger family and you're only losing a few tenths of a second 0 to 60. Both have the S68, so there's no point to go over the specs, but look at the drive. Rear axle steering on both models. Just hugs the road. It's a sports car lifted up. And now to see what that 0 to 60 looks like. Just such a smooth vehicle. M Sport brakes, so you don't have to worry there. Check the exit out. And the whole time I'm getting a soundtrack, which is something that makes this car apart from vehicles in its class. Because typically you're not going to get the most powerful engine detuned for this much of a discount. Now when you're thinking about the X7, you're going to be spending at least 15 to 20 grand more than this, which is still going to be less than an M competition, and you'll have third row capabilities and a little bit better towing. But usually when you're wanting something powerful, you want it to be sleek. In both cases, they're near 50-50 weight distribution, which is crazy because one is nearly 3 tons. As for some pros and cons, when you're in the X5, you have plenty of room for a family of 5. Plenty of cargo capacity, plenty of storage nooks, charging ports. The cons, you do have to add quite a few features, and it will change the MSRP from just under 6 figures to over $100,000, which when you're thinking about the power that's derived out of the S68, I'm okay with spending 6 figures. That's why I feel you should just be given the 360-degree reverse camera, the soft closed doors, the massage front seats, heated second row seats, and quad climate control settings. When they're not standard features and you're thinking about getting an xDrive 40i, I get it, the power is different. But you're still having to add that luxury in that variant. So just adding performance doesn't give me that much of a difference when I'm thinking $15,000 to $20,000 pricing in what I'm getting as value to value. I would also like to get a little bit more luxury. For the everyday drive though, this is comfort. "22-inch wheels, they're staggered wheels. The suspension's still comfortable. It's gonna be a little bit firm, but not so much like a full-blown M, which makes this more of a daily practical use car. I get it, you're not getting the greatest MPGs, but in the same aspect, this is also a six-figure price point car. When you're at those numbers, usually MPGs is kind of the least of your worries. Both vehicles will have the same width. The clearance will be a little bit different, which we should see that in the drive as well. But as for handling, it is so close to the same geometry that it is crazy. Moving in and out, the steering is light, so it's easy for the everyday drive. It doesn't feel that wide. It does feel a little bit long, but because it's only 2 rows, they don't offer a 3rd row, it makes it feel a little bit shorter, making it feel more like a sports car just lifted up. Now for some pros and cons, I've went through quite a few pros. As for the cons, the auto start stop, I'm not a huge fan of it. Around 5 to 6 miles per hour, the car completely dies, even if you're in a parking garage going up. And then when you push the throttle or the gas pedal, it will engage, and you're not necessarily losing power because it's a huge engine. It just, because it dies so quickly and then it engages like that, I'm not a huge fan of the auto start stop. Plus, there's no way to actually turn it off. Even in sport mode, it stays engaged. The infotainment screen, it does have some glitch, and you will have to go through multiple pages in order to get the thing. So if you want to change your climate control, you click onto it, then you got to click again to either go up or down for either the temperature or the actual fan speed, which is fine, but that's for every single setting. It's a double to triple click. For the massage seats, you just click it once. That's definitely a pro. The con though, you have to option these features, which, like I was saying at the beginning, we're in an m60i. You gave us the S68 engine. Why not give us a few extra features? Turn radius at a stop point with rear axle steering, sport mode engage, about a lane, 2 lanes, let's rock and roll. It's lovely. Let's check out the X7. This is crazy. Going the same speeds as the X5. It's larger by nearly 10 inches. It's taller by over 5 inches. It's heavy, but nearly 3 tons. Nuts! But let's see that 0 to 60. This is a tough one because when you're thinking, well, maybe I don't need a 3rd row vehicle, I'll just go with the X5. But when you're thinking 0.3 seconds slower in a 0 to 60, you don't actually feel that. And the weight distribution is so close because both of them have the rear axle steering. I mean, it's just an overall package that you're getting with value plus luxury captured. Now with this, because we have captain seat configuration, you're only getting 1 extra seat. So for me, at that point, I would say, you know what? Just get the X5, save a little bit of the dough, because you're gonna feel a little bit more sporty. It sits down a little bit lower, but if you need the extra seat capability and the extra towing and payload, you wanna go with the X7. Now the pros here is what you're getting as a total box, because usually when you go things like the Grand Wagoneer or when you go into a Range Rover Sport, it's not going to be dynamically correct. So the geometry taking bends on the road, you're gonna feel like you're just flying off the road. But with the BMW, it still feels like a sports car, even though the vehicle is so much lifted off the ground, and it is a complete box. This is like a tank on wheels. As I've been driving the two, I would go with either of the two variants. They're both true sports cars and SUVs, and both with 22-inch wheels. As for imperfections in the road, it's pretty smooth, and it's not boaty, because air suspension usually changes the whole driving demeanor. The steering is light. You can maneuver in and out of lanes without too many issues. It does feel a lot longer here, and you do feel a lot taller here than the X5. Going into some cons for the X7, you do have to option features in order to make it what we have today, which pushes the price around $120 and higher. And when you're thinking back to the X5, you can have a few savings because you're getting soft closed doors standard here, plus you're getting a 360-degree reverse camera here. Both vehicles get the S68, so you have this all the time. But do you really need to spend the extra $15,000 to $20,000? For me, I would go with the X5 m60i because I don't need the 6th seat. It's not going to make or break me. Plus, it has more than enough towing capabilities. It's a little bit quicker. I like that. The dynamics is a little bit better. And if I need a family member to drive the vehicle, they're not going to be concerned because it's that long of a vehicle. It's still somewhat of a mid-size SUV, whereas this is a larger SUV. Anything over 200 inches starts making people question how they can drive a vehicle. This is the shocking part. It's literally the same type of turn radius, about 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. It's lovely. If I needed the third row, I would go for this, but because I only have 5 in my family, I would go for the X5. But let me know what you would do in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank BMW of Wesley Chapel for giving us these two 2025 BMWs, the X5 M60i versus the X7 M60i for our comparison review.